And we are live. All right. Welcome to Two Dudes, Different States, episode 8.
Episode 8?
We made it. Made it to 8.
That's all we could have ever asked for, Bennett.
Mm-hmm. Doing things a little different again. Changing it up every week, as always. Zach, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm actually playing a game live.
What? How do you... What is this sorcery, Bennett?
Yeah. I think I'd keep it simple, at least for my computer, so it doesn't explode from trying to record something, trying to stream it to you, and then also, like, oh
I
yeah,
get that
and
dual
play it.
PT setup, bro.
I don't even understand how those work.
I'm sure if Adam would know. Adam would know for sure.
hmm I'm sure it's not hard to find out, but I just.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, let's name this thing. I'm playing FTL, Faster Than Light. It's like this 2D, kind of real time space shooting kind of game where you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
get from Area 1 to Area 8 to beat the big boss.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fun, and it's pretty random as well. There's all sorts of different ships. I'll show the ships real quick. The nameless one, that's not what I meant. It's different stuff you can get, different variants to each of those ships. So,
That's decent. That's decent. I like it.
yeah, we'll call it the Zach.
I like it already. And he gets the spelling correct. Oh, yeah. You'll love to see it, folks. You'll love to see
hmm
it.
So yeah, figured I'd try to play something and talk at the same time.
I don't know how you're
I
able
don't
to
think
do it.
anyone's done that. Nobody.
Not even Ninja.
No.
Ninja just plays games.
hmm
We stream and play games.
So yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about
What's that?
was um, recently something I found out just today was that Omegle, is that the website? Is that how you pronounce it?
Um, I've always
Omegle?
called it Omegle.
Omegle? Okay. I heard a few different pronunciations today, but I've been gone down a rabbit hole of
You
watching
don't want to go down a rabbit
musicians.
hole filled
Well,
with
I wasn't on the
Omegle.
website. I wasn't on the website itself,
Oh,
but
okay.
I was on YouTube and I was on a rabbit hole of musicians who go onto there and like play music for people.
Hmm.
And it's it's like on the same level as like a reaction channel thing
Yeah.
where you're like you're basically just watching it to see how people react to that happening to them in the moment.
Hmm.
And it was really interesting to like watch and I was like I didn't know like this was a thing, but like people have been doing it for years and like they just go
What? Just
on
going on Omegle and just doing random stuff?
and like playing music for people and like trying to get reactions out of them and like there was this um one guy who was like trying to convince people. He was like, "Yeah, like I got this new guitar and
The
it was a
do?
gift." It was the do, yeah. And he's like,
Dude, I told you about him.
"Did you?"
Yeah, it was like a couple weeks ago. I was like, I found it. He plays with McNasty a bunch of times,
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
he's like he plays like a bunch of instruments. Like he plays like the
Yeah,
guitar,
guitar,
the
piano.
piano. You know that synthesizer thing that looks like a face or whatever it is.
No,
It like oh you haven't seen that one?
I don't
Oh my
think
god,
so.
dude, he does that and he just like he doesn't show his face and like people make fun of it for that, but like
Yeah, right.
he just plays requested songs. It's really
Mhm.
dope. He does it on like Xbox and PS PlayStation as well. Like you just send him like you just go to his gamer tag and send him a message and say,
Really?
"Hey, play this," and he plays. There's like a bunch of videos about it.
Mhm.
I've watched like a good amount of them. They're pretty dope.
Yeah, I was thoroughly impressed by a lot of the talent that's actually out there. And just how and like the views, the millions of views that these things get,
Oh yeah.
um, is pretty astonishing because I just didn't expect it. Like I was like I didn't know this was the thing, and it was awesome. I just I went down a
Mm.
rabbit hole of like several videos of the do and another guy named Marcus something, Marcus Vertelsi or something like that,
Mhm.
and they just find people randomly and they try to like create new and creative ways to like entertain people. like this Marcus guy brought in like he'll bring in friends sometimes, and they'll like
Mhm.
have weird setups where you only see one of them on camera, and like they kind of like do the talking and like, okay, hey, can I play a song for you? And then they start playing the song, and then out of nowhere, a second guy with a different instrument will come in, continue the song, and like the people are always in shock that there's a new person, and it's just hilarious, and it's like it's such like a simple concept that like is done so well, and of course they cut out all like the penises they see.
Oh yeah, you know, Omegle's been around for years.
Yeah.
Like I remember joking around with a bunch of my friends back in elementary or not elementary school, middle school
Mhm.
about all this type of stuff, and there were a lot of penis or
Peni?
peni,
Peni.
whatever you want to say the plural form of
Penel.
that is. Uh, Even back then, and I can only assume it's it's pretty much the same as it was,
Yeah.
but it's comical to a point, but then you're just like, ugh, that's penis.
Ugh.
It gets tiring, you know.
Mhm.
You can meet some cool people though. We've met a few cool people.
Yeah,
I
and it's
haven't really seen any like musicians, but like just people talking, you know.
yeah. Yeah, it is interesting like especially like when I would watch the videos a lot of the time, especially the more recent ones, you can tell that they can like they probably met a lot of people while recording it, but they cut in like the ones that are like normal looking people and
Mm,
kind of like not there for other reasons.
yes.
Um, and so it was interesting to watch those, and then I watched some that like from a year or two ago, and you'd
Mm.
see like a lot of like adult men
Oh
who are
yeah.
like there for
Hmm.
very
Yeah.
obvious
Sure.
reasons,
Yes.
and it was like a little hard to watch. It was like a little
Hmm.
cringy, and
Yeah.
um, yeah,
It's definitely a weird place to be if you're you know just there looking for fun stuff. But other than that, it's mostly just wieners and
yeah,
old dudes looking for some very bad things. But
yeah.
yeah,
It's interesting how
I
many
haven't been on it in a
teenagers they
while.
run into. Yeah, I mean, I don't expect it. I don't think anybody I know is on it recently. I think what was that other one that people used for a long time? It wasn't
Club
Omegle.
Penguin.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That's a that's a cult right there.
My sister still plays that.
Really?
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
years?
She plays it. She doesn't play it as much as she used to, but like I'd
Mhm.
say she's been going on for 3 years. She's been playing
Wow.
that. I'll tell you what though, nothing beats Webkins.
It's been a long time.
I know, my poor Webkin.
Did you play a lot of Nickelodeon Arcade? Nick Arcade?
I don't think I did. It was more
Mm.
of like the Cartoon Network
Okay, yeah, I played that too.
that I used to play. Like I used to play this Teen Titans game
Oh, I think I
like
know
a
what you're talking about.
bunch. It was like a Mortal Kombat style type game, except
Uh-huh.
without all the blood and gore.
Oh, mine
Where
had
like
blood and
you
gore. I guess that's a different one.
that might be an older version
Yeah.
or a newer version rather, but it was more of like it's just like fight game and that type. Ben 10, I used to play that like a game
Oh,
too.
yeah, I used to play that.
I don't remember what
I
they're
can
called.
picture it, but I just don't know what
Yeah,
it
exactly.
is.
Like I know exactly what you could do, but you
Mhm.
just couldn't remember exactly what the game is.
Yeah.
Now I don't even think kids play those. Not the game specific, but like go on the Cartoon Network websites and they play those
I
games.
don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
even think they.
it's a good
I
question.
don't think
Cause
they even
remember
do
those
that.
commercials we used to, like go online, like make sure you ask your parents before you go online. Like I don't
Oh
think I
yeah,
don't think that's a thing.
I don't even think that's a thing anymore.
Mhm.
That brings up a really good point. You remember on Sports Center where they used to do those cameos from like all those like the famous players, and all that. Like they're like a
Mhm.
little like 10-second like gag that they would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad and I were watching TV the other day, and just randomly they were doing on Sports Center like they were going through like all of them, and it was so weird seeing like all these old commercials
Mhm.
and like all these old players. Like one was Manny Ramirez,
Right.
uh, Big Poppy was one. Stuart Scott was in it. You know, rest in peace, Stuart Scott. But no, it was just hilarious seeing like all these old commercials they used to see all the time.
Yeah, it's been a trip. I think a lot of people, not just Sports Center, have been going down this kind of rabbit hole of like, what did we used to show? Because like we're in quarantine now, and
Hmm.
um, yeah, and I think another reason I brought up Omegle is because like I think it's gone up in quarantine, like because people are just so bored. Like
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not at school. You know, kids aren't in school. They're gonna go do that instead. I guess I don't know.
Eh, I mean, you know, even before quarantine, you could tell like people were running out of ideas.
Yeah.
So like they, you know, people love nostalgia,
Oh sure.
and so like going back to what they used to do is a good way to like boost some ratings a little bit.
Mhm.
Even when it comes to movies and stuff, like every time I think I've seen the old Fast and Furious movies on TV maybe 5 times in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're, you know, granted the Fast and Furious franchise has been like a huge success, but you know, nothing beats the originals.
Well, two was pretty bad, but
Yeah. The first one was decent. I like the first
first
one.
one's great. You know, because it was, you know, something kind of new, and at least I think it was kind of new, but it was just about street racing.
Of
that
course.
that was the whole concept, and it was
Yeah,
an
of
undercover
course.
agent and a lot of cool stuff. And then they just like went off the deep end.
Now he works for the FBI, but he doesn't work for the FBI, and
Mhm.
you know, I don't know. But the whole nostalgia factor, you know, can get like it's great up to a certain point.
Mhm.
Um, I know for me, having like you know old TV shows show up every once in a while is a great thing, but the fact that people are remaking TV shows and
Mm.
remaking movies and seeing that they have little to no success
Yeah.
in the theaters, especially you know Blade Runner. I personally never seen the original Blade Runner, but like
Mhm.
everyone's like touts it as like you know like a huge you know advancement in cinema when it was made.
Right.
But the moment uh you know the new one came out, what was it, like 2 or 3 years ago or something like that, with Ryan Gosling, and you know it bombed. So you know I think what people want is you know not orig or they want original stuff but not remakes of the originals.
Yeah. It's this interesting little debacle between you want something different, but you want the same.
Mhm.
And like that kind of like brings me up like the new Avengers video game that's coming out,
Mhm.
where I think the creators were stuck in this in between of like we need people to like recognize what they're seeing, but we need it to be new, and they tried to like go with this like you recognize the characters, you know who they are, you know what they do, but we're gonna try and tell this new story with them. They're gonna be in San Francisco, and they're you know it's like decades after a big catastrophe, and like the Avengers
Mhm.
aren't really together. But then like you kind of see the gameplay and stuff like that, and it's like they try to make it like super real looking, but it's just really drab and like doesn't
Mhm.
have like a lot of color or life to it, and it's like oh like you just tried to like get two in the middle of it, and like instead of like just trying to take it your own way, you just try to sell it as like
Yeah, I think they were just
Marvel.
trying to build off of the whole you know it's the Avengers. You know
Hmm.
I think because wasn't this game like announced like shortly after Endgame was.
Well, it was really announced like years ago, but they didn't really show
Yeah.
anything until like yeah, roughly after Endgame came out.
Yeah, so they were just trying to build off of you know, build off the success of you know, the Avengers and
Hmm.
how uh great. They've been able to pull all that stuff off, but there's only so far you can take the original stuff, and even like you could tell like people were pissed off when they saw Tony Stark wasn't voiced by Robert Downey Jr. or Chris
Yeah,
Evans
that was
wasn't.
that was a big debate. Well, again, and that brings it back to the point of they tried to make it look like the characters, which they didn't need to do, like the characters from the movies. And then they didn't like try and like kind of bridge that area. They were like, oh well, it should look like them, but it shouldn't actually be them.
Hmm.
So I think
And
that's again another failure on their part.
yeah, I mean, the whole idea of original concepts and original ideas is to not try to not be a part of something that's already been made. I think that's what
Hmm.
people have trouble doing because
Yeah.
people feel like everything's been made already.
Hmm.
It's like they can't make Star Wars because it's already been a Star Wars. You can't
Yeah.
really, make
Can't
something different
can't
from
can't
that.
put lightsabers in a different story because everybody will just call it a lightsaber.
Mm-hmm. Or light blade or something like that.
Well, if you call it a
Yeah,
light blade and they're like, oh, it's just a lightsaber, they just can't call
and
it that because legal reasons.
oh yeah, but oh yeah. Star Wars owns the rights to lightsaber, or not Star Wars. Disney owns the right to the word lightsaber, so that's
Hmm.
decent. Um, but like even like back in the day, I'm pretty sure DC came out before Marvel,
I think so.
and there's been a huge topic of debate of like who copied who.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen this. I saw this, but like you have all these characters from both sides. It's not just DC copying Marvel or Marvel copying DC.
Hmm.
It's there's a bunch of characters that are copied from uh
Oh yeah.
from one another.
So
Like you
much
have
crossover.
Superman, like one of the very first superheroes ever
Hmm.
created. That's Superman, and that belongs to DC. Well, then you have what's it called in the Marvel universe? You have like Hyperion or something like
Yeah,
that.
Hyperion.
He's
He's basically
basically
Superman.
Superman,
Yeah.
and you have what is it? You have Aquaman,
Hmm.
and then in the DC in the Marvel universe, you have like Submariner,
Mm. That's a
who
good one. Basically the
I'm
same
pretty sure is the king of Atlantis,
things.
but is named Submariner instead of
Hmm.
Aquaman.
Right.
So and then it's even been said like uh Deadpool
Oh
was
yeah.
copied directly from uh uh
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
Hmm.
Deathstroke. And like you can even tell Wade Wilson, Slade Wilson.
Oh, his last name's Wilson.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's quite comical because like people like in both of the companies have said, yeah, this is pretty much exactly the same
Hmm.
character. And you know, the primest example is the Deadpool and the Deathstroke debate.
Right.
They both use swords, they both use guns, they're both mercenaries.
Hmm.
They both have similar costumes.
Right.
Because like if you pulled up a side by side comparison of the two costumes, you'd be like, whoa, these are exactly the same.
Hmm.
But I mean, if you're able to pull it off, that's great. More power to you. But at the same time, people want original content, and at this point in time, it's kind of hard to make something original.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. I don't even know if that's the thing anymore. I don't know if you can make an original thing. I don't know what that
I
would look like.
you know, I think it might be the most difficult thing in cinema because it's hard to get behind a topic, especially one
No.
that has already been taken.
Hmm.
And how many times do you think people have gone in and they're like, all right, I want a base. It's a boy or girl, whatever, boy that is left on someone's doorstep by a giant, and his parents are killed by an evil priest. What does that
Oh my
sound like?
God. Um, wait, what? An evil priest?
Yeah,
That's on a doorstep.
I'm
Harry
making stuff
Potter?
up. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
How many times do you think people have gone into meetings and been like, "Yo, that sounds just like this. Sounds like just like that.
Right.
Can't really do that.
That's
That's
too
already been
close to
made."
this. Yeah.
You
And
know, it's
that sounds like a kind of like a familiar concept I've heard a lot in business,
mm-hmm.
which is like like on Shark Tank, the show. I don't know if you've ever watched it.
I watched a few episodes.
Um, basically, if like one of the sharks hears an idea and they think it's too close to one of the ideas they already own, they kind of back off. They go, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want anything to do with this. So it's like it's kind of similar to that, where I think studios like maybe they hear a similar idea, but they're like, oh, we already own a concept like that. Why would we pay for another one?
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, your imagination can only go so far, and if it hits a home run, then yeah, that probably will be a home run. But at the same time, you know, there's a lot of variables that are involved, especially when it comes to like companies, just like you said. Like
Mhm.
you could come up what you think is a completely new type of thing, device or material,
Right.
but someone would already have a patent or a claim on it,
Mhm.
and that's where it sucks. I mean, yeah, you could rebrand it, make it, a little different so it's not, just a copy and
Right.
paste type of thing.
Mhm.
Like what was it back in the day? The iPod.
Yeah.
iPod was like one of the very first things
Mhm.
that you could download music and put in your pocket.
Yeah.
What came next? The Zune
Mhm.
or the MP3 player. They're basically the same thing.
Microsoft once again trying to copy somebody and failing.
Exactly. And now phones. How many times have you looked at your phone and been like, "Oh, is this the iPod or is this the iPhone or is it, you know, was it a Samsung?"
Mhm.
You know, I mean, yeah, iPhones and they're quite different from their counterparts, at Samsung or whatever. But at
Yeah.
the same time, they all do the same thing.
Right. They do.
A
It's yeah,
lot of I.
pretty much
It's
the
a
same
personal
apps.
preference. Personal preference.
Jeez. It is personal preference. Yeah, it's a good point. And I do think like a lot of stories have just been written, period, especially because of the 80s and 90s. I think that
Mm-hmm.
just wiped out a lot of basic genre kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
it's like, oh, well, now you have to be the Ryan Johnson of things and just put a weird twist on it. Uh,
What a twist.
yeah, or um, and try to do things that are unexpected because then it becomes newsworthy. Then it becomes like, you know, oh, you gotta see this because it's you won't see it coming.
Mm-hmm. And I think like one of the best ways to get your idea out is to you know get it bought out by a big company.
Yeah.
And you know with Disney, one of the huge, like the biggest moguls in the entertainment business right now, you know,
Mhm.
if you have an idea and it's good enough for Disney, then you're on the right track of of making some decent money.
I think so. Yep. Oh my God, the ship's on fire.
Put it out, put it out, Bennett.
Fun part is you can just open airlocks and just let out all the oxygen.
Does that actually stop the fire?
Yep.
I'm not a
In a
math
second.
whiz, so.
You're not a math whiz. It's a good thing it doesn't take math. There you go. Boop boop. Oh God, it's still spreading. Come on, come on. Get him out of there. All right. Anything else? What's going on? Oh, did you do anything for 4th of July? That was
I
yesterday.
did not.
You
No,
didn't?
I was Don't worry, it's not COVID. I just wasn't feeling up for
It's COVID.
uh.
Don't trust him.
I'm sick. I'm infected. No. I just wasn't feeling up for anything yesterday.
Mm,
Like I been waking up pretty early than I used to be waking up,
yeah.
but No, I mean, I just like wasn't down for anything. I went swimming for a little bit, worked out, but other than
Mhm.
that, it was just like it just wasn't down. I went to bed early, like around 11, I
Yeah.
guess if you can call that early, and I mean, like I was out.
Maybe.
Very boring person, if you couldn't tell.
It's all right. Yeah, I mean, you're not required to do anything, and most places, I guess legally speaking, weren't doing fireworks. As
hmm
far as I can tell, I live in Virginia, and laws are different here than they're typically more relaxed. And I thought that they weren't. I looked it up online and was like, oh, like they're not doing any fireworks this year, like officially in kind of our area. And then I,
hmm
I go out, last night, and my wife and I had like a picnic near like the river,
That's
um,
adorable.
what was cool is like because we're so close to Washington D.C., um, they like were just like flying helicopters around, like full on military helicopters as like I don't know why, like as a replacement. And then at one point, like I swear, the Blue Angels just flew over our heads, like just
Oh, really?
just like 5 or 6 fighter jets in like perfect formation just flew over our heads.
Because
I was like in
I
shock.
think I know the reason for that.
Mm,
They've been going around the country,
really?
doing just like they passed over Michigan a few weeks ago.
Oh,
So I don't know if like that it's just like they're going to every state and doing it or what, but
right.
I think that's the reason why.
Mhm.
Um, but on top of just like I just being lazy and all that, it was hot. It was
It
hot
was. Was it hot
this
there?
past week, Bennett, and it's
So
supposed to be the
humid today.
same here this week. It's supposed to be the exact same type of
Mm,
conditions. We're not supposed to get rain till like Friday, and even then, it's not even like a for sure thing.
yeah,
But it's hard to have a good time
it's hot.
when you're standing there dripping sweat.
Mhm.
It's not fun. And I mean, like, oh, but you could be up to 2 feet in snow. You could
I
still
guess.
function in a foot of snow,
Mhm.
like but at the same time, it's just miserable. The humidity sucks. Just it feels like the moment you step outside, um, you're hit with a blanket. Just
Oh
being
yeah, yeah.
pressed down on top of
Every
you with all the humidity.
every inch of you, you feel it.
hmm And this is my philosophy. I don't know if I've ever said this before, but I'd rather be cold than hot.
Oh, always.
You can always
Well,
layer up or layer
I don't
down
know
if
who
you're
asked me
cold.
this, but somebody at one point in my life asked me. That's just like a hypothetical. Would you rather burn, be burned alive, or be frozen? And I was like, oh,
Frozen,
frozen, 100%.
frozen.
You won't feel that.
I mean, you'll develop frostbite, but you won't feel it
Barely,
because
yeah.
everything is dead in the thing that's frostbitten.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're burning alive, your skin is legit roasting itself. You are burning every square inch of that area.
Mhm.
That's something that I don't want to ever happen because I've been burned. It sucks.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh my God.
Oh, Bennett, what are you doing?
Just not gonna win this. This might be the end of it.
You got more health than him. You're fine.
For now. Look at that.
What is that? I don't know what these symbols mean, Bennett.
It means I'm losing. That's my health up there, and
hmm
these red and orange are bad. It's okay. We broke it a piece apparently.
Hyperspace.
No.
Ludicrous speed, Bennett.
We're going to plaid.
They've gone plaid.
Good movie. What's your
Want you
favorite
guys to
parody movie?
comb the desert.
Last question of the day.
Parody movie?
Yeah, parody movie.
Ah, dang, man. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's a
I
tough one.
mean, like, when you think about it, there hasn't been like a good amount of parody movies, but like
There
like
there
decent
has
ones.
been, there has been a
Decent
good
one.
one.
I think out of all of them, Spaceballs has to be my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, there's just so many like one-liners and
Mhm.
funny moments from that movie. And I don't know if you think back to like this past like 20 years, in the 2000s, but like there was like disaster movie,
Right.
epic movie,
Mhm.
and I mean, yeah, those were kind of funny, but at the same time, they were quite bad.
Oh yeah. They were not good.
Like they were very bad.
Mhm.
And I think Spaceballs, granted it was made in what, the 80s, you know,
I think so, yeah.
it's lived up to the hype. It's lived well beyond its supposed expiration date.
Mhm.
And I could still go back, and I'm 23 or 24,
Yeah.
you know, I could still go back and watch that movie and have a great time laughing from it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I tried
It's
watching
solid.
Disaster Movie a couple weeks ago.
That's not a
I had to
great one.
turn it off.
Yeah, it's
I
not great.
it's awful.
I would recommend if you've seen it or not, either well, this one's not a parody movie, but um, not another teenage movie.
Oh,
That's a good one.
that's what we're talking. Oh, okay, yeah, with Chris Evans.
Yep, that's a good one.
Yep. Mhm. I
Um,
totally forgot about that one.
yeah, and then this one's not a parody movie, but it's in similar vein. Euro Trip. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I don't. I think I have.
It's pretty good. It's like of the same kind of level of comedy.
Is it a
Um,
National Lampoon movie?
maybe it's in very similar style. If
Mhm.
it isn't. Um, but yeah, definitely one of my favorite like kind of early 2000 movies. But yeah, not another teenage movie is one of my favorite parody movies.
That had some funny moments in it too. It's
Yeah.
basically uh everything I hate about you, uh and Varsity Blues all rolled into one movie.
Mhm.
And it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot of big stars in that movie, I think. It's Chris Evans, who's the chick? Um I
I,
have to
I
look
I
this
always
up.
forget all their names. Do you ever watch My Name Is Bill? What is it called?
My Name is Earl?
Earl, that's what it was.
No, I
You never
absolutely
watched that?
despise
Oh,
that show.
okay. Because I only know the fact that like
uh
the woman that played his wife or ex-wife, I don't know. Again, never watched it. Is in that movie as well. So I don't know.
oh yeah, what's her name? Jamie Presley?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what her name is.
Yeah.
And then Chyler Leigh is what her name is, the main
I don't know. I
actress
don't think anybody again
in that
besides like
movie.
Chris Evans went and did anything major at least. There's like a lot
um
of small time actors in
movie. Oh, that's why she looks familiar.
it.
This Chyler Leigh
Mhm.
person.
Yeah.
She was in Grey's Anatomy.
Oh,
She was she played Lexi,
I never watched it.
and yeah, I mean it's a decent one.
I don't know what it is about hospital dramas. I just can't get into that. Scrubs, oh, that was okay because it was funny, but
Mhm.
I can't get into like real hospital dramas. I can get into cop show dramas, just not hospital.
And yeah, it's pretty decent.
Tacoma FD comes back this month.
Damn, I gotta still watch that.
You haven't watched the first season?
I think I watched like a good amount. Wait, no, I watched a good amount of it when I came and visited you for your
Oh yeah,
wedding,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but wasn't able to get the
Get
the
through it all.
full experience.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a good one. Catch up on it.
Do you know there was a That 80s show?
I did. You never watched that?
Did not.
It was only on for God, not even a full
One
season.
season.
I don't even know if it was a
One.
full one. I think they're just calling it one season. But it starred the guy from It's Always Sunny. Not Ron, the guy who plays Dennis,
Oh,
or not Rob. Rob.
what's his name?
Not Rob, not Charlie. I always forget the other guy's name though. Doesn't matter. We'll call him Dennis. Um, yeah, stars him.
Glenn Howerton.
Glenn
Glenn
Howerton
Howerton.
stars Glenn Howerton. He works in like a music shop or something, like he sells records.
Mhm.
And yeah, just typical like that
Mhm.
70s show kind of style, obviously.
But not as good.
And yeah, I thought it was okay. obviously, yeah, like I think coming off of like the same style of like, but you had like 9 seasons of that 70s show, so it was like kind of hard to break away from like knowing those characters.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I read into it when I first found out about that show because it was obviously a very odd show to hear about. I was like, well, they made like a sequel to a TV show.
Yeah, this is the
Um,
first I've ever heard of this.
oh yeah, yeah, and basically, I think it was Fox that ran that show.
Mhm.
Um, they accidentally canceled like too many shows too quickly, and their like week lineup was like totally screwed. So they were like, oh, we gotta like put together a bunch of shows like real quick. So they like got like anybody they could to like make like like that 80s show and like a couple of other shows that like they knew like probably wouldn't last, but just to like
Mhm.
fill time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
But
Little behind the scenes.
it's just an interesting tidbit slash fact I didn't know about. But anything else you can think of?
No, that's it. We filled the
That's
time.
it.
We did it.
We did it. We
All
did
right.
it. We did it.
It seems the way we always end these. We did it.
Oh my god. Legit just like 45 minutes out of our Sunday and we're just like, "Oh my god, I can't breathe."
A Sunday where we do nothing. Oh God, just ran 3 miles.
Oh my
My
god.
lungs can't handle
I just
this.
I just worked all day. Wait, what time is it?
All right, man. Let's go play some Call of Duty.
COD.
All right.
Bye everyone.
Bye.